Right into the stretch, looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the Ready or Not. Here comes the boys from the South. Here comes the Ready or Not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the Ready or Not. Here comes the boys from the South. Here comes the Ready or Not. How you like me now?
You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
You are watching live to the best damn Cincinnati sports podcast this side of the Joe Nuxall, Miracle Fields, in Fairfield, Ohio. How we doing? How we doing?
Absolutely great.
Awesome. Doing good.
Joyce Park. You're talking about Joyce Park.
Yeah, out that way.
I used to take a little BP over there on the batting cages when they used to have them all the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I used to go over there and wear it out. It was so much fun.
It was one of the few batting cages. It was like a driving range. You could actually, your ball will actually go, 200, 250 or whatever.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't get stopped.
And then Nuxall had the driving range with the putt too.
Yeah.
Out that way, and oh my gosh, my grandpa would take us out there all the time. We'd be he'd be teaching me how to swing. He's a lefty, so I was a righty, so I just mirrored what he did.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun.
Hey, that's all converted to what, soccer fields now?
Yeah, that's just a bunch of soccer fields. Yep. But we got an exciting show. David Fulcher, he's on the way, right, Greg? Hopefully.
Yeah, I messaged him, did not hear back, but when I talked to him today, he said he was good to go, got the invite and all that. So, he probably just running late. So we'll see how it goes.
He's just sitting in a tunnel. He's waiting for the smoke machines to start.
There it is.
Crowd to get revved up. And he come busting through the tunnel.
That's
there
right.
You go.
Right. But Bengal Dad, we haven't had you here in a little bit. It feels like
a little bit.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the news of Dan Pitcher being named offensive coordinator? How do you feel?
The best thing about that is, unless it's Joe Burrow just kind of being a company man, it sounds like Burrow really wanted him.
Yeah.
And I'm not the kind of guy that says give Joe Burrow what he wants because he's Joe Burrow. But if you can do something to not rock the boat and keep Joe Burrow in a consistent situation where that was his quarterback's coach, now it's his offensive coordinator, I can't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, like Darth said, that continuity.
Yeah,
that can always, well, not always, but that can be a good thing.
Sure.
Got a lot of people in the chat. Houday Tyler, Houday Matt, Darth's in there, Mom's in there, Stranger, of course. A lot of people in there. Trying to think what other news has happened.
Marvin, congrats to Marvin Lewis for the assistant head coach job for the Raiders. I mean, Marv, I'm so glad he's wanted to get back into coaching the NFL for the last couple of years. So glad he's getting a shot. And I think he's going to be a great mentor to the new Raiders coach. Pierce is his name.
Antonio Pierce.
Really happy, great mentor to have with Marvin with him. So happy for him.
He was already a consultant for him when he got named the interim coach this season. So, yeah, he was already there and already helping out. So, hopefully he does well for him and helps him out a little bit. Not too much because we want to win the AFC, but but always, I always liked Marvin. It just, he just got stale here.
Mm-hmm.
Is the way I kind of feel about it.
What happens?
Yeah. Mom said, hope your move went smoothly and you're getting some rest.
No and no.
Yeah, it's not.
But I appreciate the thought.
It's not happening, but
oh no.
Right.
Yeah. Now, another thing is, I know this is Bengals talk, but there's baseball going this month, spring training. I mean, can we believe this? I mean, the Reds, man. I mean, just a year ago, James, you've always been a fan, but Bengal Dad, I was like, I don't care. I'm waiting for football season, but I will say this. I'm excited. This is the most excited I've been in quite some time. I mean, the lineup. I mean, the guy who's batting ninth, I think Jeff Carr, came out with his lineup. And if you have Will Benson batting ninth, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm excited about it. I'm anticipatory, if that's even a word. I don't know what to
you mean.
expect. Is it going to be the Reds of June? I don't think so. They were too good at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be the Reds that finished out the year or that played so poorly against the Brewers. There's going to be somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
And let's hope that they can find a way to have a decent April, get off to at least a 500 or better start.
No 3
maybe end the season with 85, 90 wins and sneak their way in. Let's see what happens. I think thinking they can do more than that is probably being a little overly optimistic. They don't have the pitching staff in the world. A bunch of unproven or injured type of people that are in that pitching staff. I think if everything clicks, they're going to be really, really good because I think their upside when it clicks is better than a lot of teams' upsides when they click.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Matt McClain's going to be healthy. He's going to be back. Supposedly, Lodolo is going to be healthy. Supposedly, Graham Ashcraft is going to be healthy. Hunter Green. We'll see what happens. I got a sneaking feeling, and this is no secret information or anything like that. I just have a sneaking feeling that they're going to add another starting pitcher.
You know what, James? It's funny you said that because the general manager said we're not doing any more moves, and we had that one. Who's the Mueller kid we added? What's his name? One of the best relievers in baseball, in my opinion, last year, pitched in Colorado. So, never say never. I have a feeling something sneaky. James, I agree with you. Something sneaky could happen.
I think the wild card to the whole team is Ellie.
Yes.
Yeah. I think when Ellie goes, I think it loosens everybody up. It energizes the entire lineup. It energizes the stadium. It energizes everything. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressure to put on that kid's shoulders. But when he's going, it's kind of like Yasiel Puig in a strange way. I thought Puig was the energy for the short time he was here. When he was clicking, I mean, people just jumped on his back, and he would carry you. Yeah, he did that with the Dodgers early on when he was with the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. I think Ellie's that kind of a force.
Oh yeah. Greg, do you have any word?
No, I still have not heard anything. I'm checking. I got my phone with me. Still have not heard anything.
Okay.
Boy, if David doesn't show up, all of our fans are going to want a refund.
I know.
I know.
We'll get those $0 million out to you right away. But hopefully he's still able to show up. Maybe something happens, some scheduling conflict happened or something like that. But if he's not on today, I'm sure we'll get him on another day. But
yeah.
Anyway, I had questions written down for Fulcher. I'll ask you, Bengal Dad. How did it? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'll answer the questions for Fulcher since I didn't play.
Right. Yeah, and none of you look like David. You.
No.
Yeah. Here he is.
There he is. That
looks a little bit more like David.
There you go.
Appearance. No. Wanted to get that out so that way.
Yeah, I was hoping he was. I'm hoping he still shows up because there's a couple questions I want to ask you.
No, I got questions too. Like I say, hopefully he pops in soon. Like I say, he could be running late because something could happen. Who knows?
Yes.
But hey, we'll just keep the show going until something happens.
Yeah. Joe Burrow quote: "Better send those refunds." Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler. Whether David shows up or not, still a great.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Who the hosts are?
Wow.
He's not talking about me.
He certainly ain't talking about me. I'm AWOL most of the time.
Well, hey guys, should we get some sponsors out right now?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. That's a good idea. Greg, why don't you go ahead and start? You ready?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start, and this time I have it saved properly because I didn't write it down properly. So,
All right.
Here we go. All right.
First sponsor we're going to get out there is Midwest Best Barbecue.
Are you looking for great food, great atmosphere, and even better people? Well, look no further than Midwest Best Barbecue and Creamery. Head on down to 669 Justice Court in Loveland to chat down on their wings, barbecue, mac and cheese, sandwiches, ice cream, and so much more. They even offer catering services too. And to top things off, Tim and Nicole are massive Bengals fans. Don't wait. Go to www.midwestbestbarbecue.com to get your carry-out or delivery order placed, or go dine in to enjoy the sights and smells of Midwest Best Barbecue and Creamery, which is open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m.
This might be a subtle jab at Santori because of where he's at. Still the best damn sports show this side of the
Hey,
Bahamas.
That might be. That might be a jam.
Man,
he won't be there much longer. He's heading back tomorrow morning.
Yep, it looks like they've had a blast though. I'm happy for him.
He sent me this beautiful picture of the beach and the ocean. It looked wonderful. And then right after he sends it to me, he says, "Yeah, but now we got to leave because there's too strong of waves and they're closing the beach."
Oh,
so he gets there. He said it's like 70, 72 degrees. It's perfect. And then they close the beach on him.
oh no.
There you go.
Shoot. Well, oh well. He's still in the Bahamas and we're not.
Yes.
Right.
So he could still look at it.
Exactly.
All right. So what else interesting has happened? I know there's been quite a bit free agent talk with the Bengals, draft talk. Bengal Dad, do you have a way you want to lean when it comes to free agency to start? Like a position of need.
It's boring. Everything is the trenches. Everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to protect Joe, and you can protect Joe with a good defensive line also, so that he isn't having to put up 30 points to win games.
Yeah.
You got to have a strong, fortified offensive and defensive line. You have that, and you can get away without having the best defensive backfield in the NFL. You can get away without having the most skilled players.
Yeah.
If you can just give Burrow that extra second, he'll make everybody look good.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that. I don't know why they just don't take every one of their resources and throw it into those, whatever it is, 9 people, 10 people, depending upon the defensive line you're playing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why they don't do that.
I'm with you, and I think if you can really tackle that and I think Dale said it and Matt said it too. If you can really tackle that in free agency, get that taken care of, you really truly can go best player available in the draft and not have to worry about trying to reach for somebody just because it's a position of need.
Right.
So if we could get to that point where we're addressing the trenches, getting that interior defensive line depth, maybe a starter, because we don't know when. Number one, we don't know if we're signing DJ Reader back. Number two, we don't know if he's going to be healthy by the start of the season because he tore his quad and he's a 300+ pound man. It's tough to come back from for anybody. All that weight, it's tough. But if we can get that taken care of, maybe get an edge guy as depth, and then go get a right tackle, because I don't want to say Jonah's not going to be back, but it's not looking great that he's going to be back.
No.
And I'm not so sure how well he even played last year. I don't know how big of a loss it is to lose somebody that is at best average.
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to get lucky. We need to have a couple either lucky picks or lucky things that happen in free agency, because that happens to a lot of teams. They really don't know how good all these players are they're going to get. Some pan out and some don't. We just need a couple more people to actually pan out.
Yep. Look at Puka Nacua for the Rams.
Right.
Yeah.
Goodness. What was he, a 5th rounder?
Yeah.
I think. And he just broke Jamar Chase's rookie record.
Right.
For receiver.
It's like Ickey Woods.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a 6th round pick, and he was really, really good till he tore his knee.
That whole Tom Brady guy, whatever.
Yeah, that guy.
If you guys remember him, I know he's hasn't been in the news here lately, but yeah, he was a 6th round pick, if I'm not mistaken, like pick 199 or something.
Yep. Is Brock Purdy going to be the lowest draft pick? I don't know. Is he going to be the lowest draft pick quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl if they win? They used to go 13.
Wait. What about Doug Williams?
I don't know. I have no idea where he was selected at.
Let's see.
But obviously, probably over the last 20 years, he would be. And I know we haven't talked about that yet, but I feel pretty strongly about the 49ers winning that game.
Right, no. What was your take on Cam Newton saying he is the 10th best player on that team? I mean, like, because some people miss
Who's the 10th best player?
It was Cam Newton said that Brock Purdy was the 10th best player on the 49ers team. I will say this. I don't think he's the best player on the 49ers team. I don't know for the 10th, though. I'm trying to think. But the best, if we're talking best player overall, I would say Bosa, Trent Williams, you could argue, because they're both the best. They're one of the top of their positions. Christian McCaffrey, definitely the best running back in the league. Yeah, I would say he's like maybe the 4th or 5th, but not the 10th best player on the team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the Niners top to bottom well enough. He's definitely in the top 10.
Yes.
He's probably top 5 or 6. You missed Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel and Kittle are really
Samuel Kittle. Yeah, so like he's 6 or 7, but definitely not number 10. But you know, when you think about it, yeah, he does keep getting bumped down a little bit. But yes,
there's guys like Christian McCaffrey, who's probably number 1. Trent Williams, you got Bosa, you got Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Then you throw in.
Well, you got who's the linebacker? 54. What's his name?
Oh,
I'm drawing a blank. He's really, really good.
Hold on. Number 54, 49ers. If it'll pull up.
How are we drawing a blank on this? And that guy's all over the place.
What?
Somebody in our studio audience should know the answer to this question.
Right, exactly. I'm surprised not many people are getting off right now, looking up on their phones or something.
Is it Fred Warner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fred Warner's he's outstanding.
Yeah, he is.
For as far as Brock Purdy's concerned, it's been a while since I've heard people not speak so highly of a quarterback, and that, in my opinion, is very good. I mean, he is very good. And everybody says, oh, he's a game manager. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. I see the guy make plays.
He does.
I see the guy make plays that sometimes I wonder if Burrow's going to make that play. He is very decisive. He's fast. I heard one of the commentators, I think it was Olsen, the guy who used to be the tight end for the Panthers.
Yeah, Greg Olsen.
Yeah, he said, well, he's not very athletic. And I'm thinking, the guy looks incredibly fast to me. He's incredibly accurate. He's very smart. I mean, I don't know what else you want out of a quarterback besides intelligence, athleticism, because the guy can run, accuracy. What else do you want? He's got great anticipation. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
No, can I tell you this? He's a hell of a better playoff quarterback than Lamar Jackson. I mean, Lamar Jackson, great regular season quarterback, but I mean, you know, what's your guys' take on Lamar? I mean,
I didn't see most of that game, but I did listen to a morning sports talk show. I think it was on Tuesday, and they were shredding Lamar Jackson, absolutely shredding him. I didn't see that. I saw the second half of the game when desperation was kicking in, so I didn't see the first half.
Yeah, that throw to Isaiah Likely in the end zone when he was triple covered.
Yeah,
I saw that one. That was the pick in the fourth quarter.
I mean, Likely had his hands up, but dude, triple coverage, man, don't do that.
Well, that was when they were in a run where it seemed like every other pass he was throwing was a 40 or 45-yard pass downfield.
Dude,
they were chucking it up. They were desperate.
Every series they started with a deep pass there towards the end. It was like, bam. And he was overthrowing his guys by like 4 or 5 yards every time.
Okay.
On those deep passes.
Like I said, I didn't see everything. I didn't see the whole game. But obviously the play of the game is when Flowers fumbled going in. That was the play of the game. That cost them 7 points.
Yep, back-to-back
years. They desperately needed it at that point. I was really surprised. I haven't seen anybody yet compare that to Ernest Biner. As soon as he did it, I told Tyler, or Santori, I said, that's Ernest Biner all over again. He didn't really know exactly what I was talking about.
Uh-huh.
But that was back in the 87 AFC Championship. Cleveland was down 38-31 with 1:12 to go, and they handed off to Biner in the red zone. He breaks free for a touchdown, and he gets hit at the 2-yard line. They got to swats the ball out from under him. Cleveland loses.
I remember that.
That was the year after they got beat on the 98-yard drive by Elway. They had back-to-back AFC championship games that they either went overtime or they blew at the end.
Yeah.
And Ernest Miner, I'm surprised he got out of Cleveland alive after that.
Bengal man, you're usually pretty you're a realist on this. Now, what's your honest opinion? Because I even hear Bengals fans say this: Boomer or Bernie? Who was the better quarterback at that time? Boomer.
Bernie was far more accurate than Boomer was. Bernie couldn't run at all. There was no athleticism at all with Bernie. I don't know if anybody ever really watched the guy play.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like he was playing with braces on his legs. Seriously.
Mm.
I mean, as he's running, you could hear. You could just. It was horrible. Bernie Kosar was to quarterbacks what Hunter Pence is to outfielders. If you guys know who Hunter Pence is, Hunter Pence would throw like this,
right?
And the way he ran, everything was just so unathletic. But he was incredibly productive, and he was a leader, and that's what Kosar was. He was productive and he was a leader. But you would never ever show his video of how to play the position,
right?
Because he looked like he had like muscle ailments or something. He looked horrible out there. But he was a bigger big game quarterback than Boomer. He showed up in the big games. You know, Boomer had maybe a decent game in the playoffs here or there. Super Bowl, he didn't do anything. I think Boomer threw for 106 yards in the Super Bowl. He didn't do anything. I think he was hurt. I think he had a bad left shoulder, but he did nothing in the Super Bowl. Bernie was definitely – he's the quarterback you wanted for that final drive. Yeah. I would rather have him than Boomer.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, people forget about Bernie because remember for the Cowboys when Troy Aikman got hurt, that Jimmy Johnson needed a quarterback, and he coached Bernie when he was at Miami. And I think Bernie came in and actually played – well, he had a great talented Cowboys team around him, but didn't Bernie come in filling for Aikman when he got hurt that one year?
I think he did. I don't quite remember it, but now that you said it, I can kind of see it. If you ever watch old YouTube videos of Bernie Kosar, he looks terrible, but he would throw from all different arm angles. They always talk about Mahomes and this and that. This guy did it out of necessity, and that's kind of how he threw anyway. So accurate.
You guys are talking about the lowest drafted quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
It looks like the lowest drafted quarterback to ever start is Brad Johnson, 227th pick in the 9th round of the 92 NFL draft.
Oh, for Tampa Bay?
But he didn't win. Or no,
he did win Super Bowl for Tampa Bay against
Tampa Bay.
I was actually rooting for everybody said it was going to be the Raiders. I'm like, no, it's Tampa Bay with that defense.
Yep. So he would be the lowest quarterback to start because he was picked 262.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Whatever Mr. Irrelevant is, whatever that is. But so
Brock Purdy's got quite a resume, though.
Oh,
He's been in the league 2 years. His resume is already better than Burrow. He's been to a championship game, and now he's been to a Super Bowl in his first 2 years. It took Burrow 3 years to accomplish that.
Yeah.
The guy's very, very good.
Yeah. He got to a Super Bowl in his second year. Burrow did.
Right. Yeah, he sure did. Like I said, man. Yeah. Like I said, Purdy, he has nothing to complain about. Just from, right now he can't really afford anything right now with the contract. It's just hilarious to me is Archie Manning is making more money than he is right now in college.
Well, and again, I'll get off the Purdy train here in a second. If Purdy doesn't get hurt last year in the NFC Championship game, he's in back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yes, he is.
Because they didn't lose that game by a lot to Philadelphia. And if you remember, after Purdy got hurt, then their third-string quarterback got hurt. I think the entire second half they were in Wildcat with Christian McCaffrey.
He was the emergency. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think Philadelphia would have won that game if there was anybody competent at quarterback.
Right.
Purdy would have been to back-to-back Super Bowls in his first 2 years, which I would say has probably never happened before.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that would have ever happened. Yeah. The guy's good.
Yeah. Oh no, he's earned my against the Bengals. He played very well against the Bengals. We dominated, but he still played very well. I remember, like you said, he was running. Oh! Message alert! Fulcher says he's about to hop on.
All right.
Sorry about that, guys. You guys are probably think there was an earthquake happening or something.
No.
Yeah, but no. Yeah, he's about to hop on. But
Good deal.
He just let us play the first series without him, and now he's coming in.
Yeah.
but no, like I say, that I mean, this Super Bowl. I mean, I think we all agree we're rooting for San Francisco. But look, I have to tell everybody something. I like Travis Kelce. I'm sorry, he's a UC guy. UC never has anybody good in the NFL. It's not like Ohio State, how they have a great player, 2 or 3 great players every single year. For a UC fan like me, this is a gift right here with the Kelce brothers and all that. So, but I'm still rooting for the Niners. Don't get me wrong. But I'm sorry. You know what? I'll just go ahead and say this. If I get a basketball jersey, I'm getting a number 13 Swift jersey. When I saw that, boom, that's what I'm getting. Wow. I don't care what anybody else says.
I mean, hey, you do you.
Hey, I mean, I like Taylor Swift beforehand. Believe me, I was heartbroken seeing her wearing good Chiefs stuff. Believe me, I was. But I said to myself, wait a minute now, you got the Bearcats on your side, so I can work with this.
All right. So without further ado, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, the esteemed member of the SWAT team, Mr. David Fulcher. How's it going?
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Absolutely. He's the original Rock.
And I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, man.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem, man. I'm sorry, guys.
No.
Well, I know Bengal Dad. So I'm Cincy James. We've got Greg Luther, who you've been chatting with.
Yeah.
And then we've got Bengal Dad here. He's got a jet here in just a little bit. So I want Bengal Dad to start with the question for you, if that's okay.
Okay, no problem, man.
All right.
Well, David, very nice to I've met you a couple times, which you probably don't remember, but I remember meeting you. So very nice to talk to you again.
Good to see you, man.
I had a question. What game in the NFL, as a Bengal, do you remember the most as you being the most dominant? What was the game? Because I have one in my mind. Was there a certain game that you thought you were just ruling the day?
Oh my gosh, man. I don't know, man. We've had some games against some teams.
Yeah, I'm talking about you personally.
Me personally.
You personally, where you were
Just
super
dominating the team. Well, there was a couple of them. I want to say the Houston Oilers. We played Houston here in Cincinnati, and I had a crazy day, 3 interceptions against Warren Moon, 16 tackles. But I also did the same thing in Kansas City with 3 interceptions. Steve DeBerg, I think maybe was a quarterback. But there were teams that I dominating. I feel like everybody I played in the AFC in our division, I tried to dominate them.
Well, the reason I asked the question, the game that sticks with me, and it always will, was the playoff game against Seattle. It seemed like they brought you up and you were in like a Lawrence Taylor position. I just remember you blitzing and blitzing and blitzing, and I can't remember the running back, number 32, Williams was his name for Seattle. Williams. Yeah, I just remember you upending him and just burying him and just putting constant pressure. I think it was David Craig was the quarterback.
Yes, that
game just sticks with me. That you were just.
It was one of those games that I think Dick LeBeau and our scheme for them was John L. Williams loves to run the football, and they wanted to run the football. They thought they could run the ball against us. So LeBeau, with our zone blitz, I was a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. So we had 4 or 5 linebackers. Obviously, David was considered a safety linebacker body, that he would bring me to the line of scrimmage and force Seattle to run the football with our 3-4, and now we got 3-5 because we're putting a safety up at the line of scrimmage. So it was one of those games where LeBeau said, listen, if they're going to beat us, they're going to have to throw the football, not run the ball. And I was right at the line of scrimmage making all kind of plays.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Is I remember watching the game going, I've never seen Fulcher at the line of scrimmage like this. This is ingenious because he's such a force. And you just took over. In my opinion, you took that game over.
And a lot of it, like I said, had to do with, I tell people the story about the zone blitz. It was created in Cincinnati, not Pittsburgh.
Right.
Everybody looked at Troy Polamalu and how successful he was with the zone blitz. Well, we were successful. We probably didn't win Super Bowls like Pittsburgh did, but the zone blitz started in Cincinnati with Dick LeBeau and David Fulcher, not Pittsburgh and LeBeau. Troy Polamalu.
Go ahead, guys. You got some questions.
I was going to say,
I thought he was still going. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
If you got to hop off some, keep asking a couple more.
No,
Okay.
I'll jump in if I need to. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Mr. Fulcher.
And you can call me, and Mr. Fulcher's back.
Okay. Hey, sorry. That's how I was raised and all that.
Good. It's all
okay.
good.
My question to you is, what was your first thought coming to Cincinnati after coming out of Arizona State? You're going to Cincinnati. What's your first thought about going to Cincinnati?
Well, I was a little concerned about the weather, man. I growing up in Los Angeles where it's 75 degrees, and then Arizona where it's 115, and then 30. I was a little concerned about that. Obviously I played a couple of games in the cold. Arizona State, we went to Michigan, East Lansing, and played Michigan State. And I think it was like 35 degrees, and we were freezing. But I think the thing about Cincinnati was, for me, being drafted by him, is that I didn't talk to them a whole lot because I was a redshirted junior coming out of Arizona State. Mm-hmm. They were not taking juniors out of college back then. Herschel Walker and Bernie Kosar and I were supplemental drafts coming out of college because we were juniors coming out as redshirted juniors or redshirted seniors. Mm-hmm. But when I came to Cincinnati, man, I was thinking, man, I'm coming to Cincinnati. They're not winning, not a good-looking football team. Yeah, they went to Super Bowl in '81, but am I going to play? Is this a perfect fit for me? And a couple of years later, we're in the Super Bowl. So, yes, I was skeptic at first, but once I got here and put my feet on the ground, and they just let me be me. And LeBeau said, "Hey, I'm going to ride your coattail, and we're going to make these things happen." And it turned out pretty well for me.
Awesome.
Well, just kind of talking about that time, what was it like playing with that legendary secondary, the SWAT team? Like you knew that if maybe somebody got by you, you knew somebody else was going to take up the slack. What was that like?
Well, LeBeau gave us a lot of, well, I wouldn't say gave us. He gave me a lot of green light. He told me if I saw things, if you see it, you got to go get it,
Right.
And he let me do that. I did that a lot. And there were times that I was supposed to be deep, but I saw something and I checked off with Solomon or checked off with Billups or Thomas, and I played their position and they played mine. I checked off with the linebackers or the defensive end saying, I'm going to blitz, you drop off. He gave me a lot of green light to do a lot of good things. And fortunate for me and for us, I wasn't wrong on a lot of them. I was in plays. I made plays where people say, how in the heck did he do that? Get over there, and, I can remember us in the Super Bowl against the 49ers when they were running the football to the strong side to me quite often in the first half. And I was stopping the plays. And then second half, they made those adjustments to run the other way. Well, when they ran the other way, I was telling LeBeau, I'm going on the other side on the snap of the ball. And when they ran the other way, I was over there making tackles. But it was because I switched my responsibilities with the other guys. And I was almost like a coach on the field playing with my other 10 teammates.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Bengal Dad, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about Sam Weish?
I tell you what, man, I think one of the best innovators in the game of football. He learned a lot from, Bill Walsh and that staff and, everything that Sam did with Bill Walsh, and Walsh was coaching him and Sam at quarterbacking. It was just the best opportunity for a football player to play because Sam Weish was a player's coach. And I know you guys have heard of those guys that are players coaches. Well, a player's coach is not one that just gives you anything you want, but a player's coach is understanding who you are. A guy who has played the game, but he's also coaching the game. And most coaches aren't like that. Most guys who coach this game today are guys that probably, was behind another coach and that he now becomes a coach. But when you had a guy that played the game, that got out there and did what you did, it was easy for him to understand you. And I think that's where Sam Weiss was. As crazy as Sam was, because we used to call him Wicky Wacky, we suited up week in and week out for that guy.
Gosh, that's great. Got a question in the chat from Tyler. He says, what was it like to know Paul Brown, and what was your favorite thing that you can think of about him?
Well, I when I came in here in '86, I remember Dick LeBeau talking about Paul Brown and told me that Paul Brown wanted him to go out and find a safety. And then when LeBeau came back with me showing some film to Paul Brown, he said, "Coach, I'm going to tell you something. I found a safety, but he doesn't look like one." Paul Brown was like, "What do you mean he doesn't look like one?" Well, when you see him, he's not your typical safety. He's bigger than most of our linebackers and probably a few of our defensive ends. Paul Brown came up to me the day that the Bengals worked me out, and I came in here and I talked to him. And he said, young man, Coach LeBeau said you don't look like a safety, and I'm standing next to you, and you really don't look like one. And how do I tell this iconic Paul Brown, hey, I can play a little football, Coach? That's what I told him. I said, hey, man, if you're worried about me running a 40-yard dash in 4.5, I can't help you. But if you're worried about me making tackles, I'm your guy.
There it is.
And that's all I could tell him. And let me tell you something. One day in practice, he came up to me and said, "You know something, kid? You're standing up too high. You're too tall. That's bend down a little bit." And I said, "Coach, I can't bend down there." He said, "What do you mean you can't bend down there?" I said, at 6'4", it's kind of hard for me to bend down there, but I can get down there and tackle him. And he said, "As long as you can do that, we're going to be all right."
Greg, go ahead, bud.
We have another question. This is from a good friend of ours, Matt Schultz. So in that Bengals Super Bowl, what was your take on that holding call on Logan Wilson? I mean, what did he have to do? I mean, can you just tell us, was that not a ridiculous penalty in that Super Bowl?
Well, I tell people the story about Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL. They don't like the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think they like when Paul Brown left Cleveland and created the Bengals. And I think that's been traveling for a very long time. And I don't want people to think that, I'm a sore loser because, you win and you lose no matter what happens.
Yeah.
I see where, up until an hour before our Super Bowl game in 88-89, they were trying to stop us from doing the sugar huddle. They try to tell Sam, you can't run this. Wait a minute, we've been running all year, and you want to tell me I can't run it in the Super Bowl up until the wee hours of playing in the Super Bowl? And every time you look up, man, and I'm the kind of guy that I watch games and I follow this team, and they're pretty good. But when it's close and Cincinnati's playing, you might feel that, how do we lose all the time when it's close? Well, I don't know if the NFL wants us to win. And I also believe that the only way that we're going to win that Super Bowls or whatever it may be, we got to blow people out. How does a Super Bowl game play almost the entire game and no flags are thrown? And late in the game, on a play that Cooper Kupp runs an in route, and there is Logan Wilson doing what he's supposed to be doing. And the referees felt like, oh, wait a minute, there's no way a linebacker can cover a receiver. Well, he wasn't covering the receiver. He was just in the zone, and then when Cup came in the zone, he made Cup rearrange his route. And when he threw the ball to him, he couldn't get the ball, and they go, wait a minute. There's no way a linebacker can cover a receiver who has caught 115 catches in the year. But you know what? Once again, it was a close game, and the Bengals aren't going to win a close game unless they blow them out.
We have a lot of friends, the gentleman that asked that question as well, Matt, that feel the exact same way as what you have just described. Like, if you don't blow them out, you're leaving it up to chance.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I once again, man, I'm not a sore loser. If you beat me, you beat me. But you know, if you're gonna beat me when it's close, I mean, you can't beat me when I'm beating you 40-0. Right. Close game, and then you want to take it amongst yourself. The AFC Championship game a couple of years ago, when a side pushes Mahomes out of bounds. Well, you know, if you go back and look at that play, this is a big man chasing a quarterback. When he got to the sideline, you're asking him to stop on the dime so that he doesn't run over Mahomes. Now, Mahomes stopped, slowed down, knowing that Osai was coming behind him, and you're asking a 240-pound linebacker, a big man, to stop on a dime, and he ran over Mahomes. Now, could you have called that a penalty? I don't, once again, it's a Cincinnati Bengals close game. And once again, I'm not saying that it was it was hard for that guy to stop. But yet, close game again, you give Kansas City an opportunity to go and kick a field goal, because if they don't get that extra 15 yards, it's a 60-yard field goal. And he is not going to make that 60-yard field goal, because the 45-yarder that he did make, the ball just barely went over the goalpost.
Yeah, it was cold.
So, once again, the only way the Bengals are going to get respect and beat people in this league, they got to beat them. If it's close, it's a coin flip. But if it's a blowout and we're winning, you can't take that away from us.
Yeah. And I think, Bengal Dad, I've heard you even say, just, keep your foot on the gas. Don't ever let up.
Paul Brown told us that. He said, listen, first of all, act like you've been there. And number two, if you got your foot on on their throat, it's not your fault. You just keep your foot on the gas pedal and you keep driving them in. But it's hard to win games when officials are controlling it.
Yeah. No, I
got another question about the Super Bowl 88.
Yes.
I'm probably one of the few people that will admit I was a massive Stanley Wilson fan.
Yeah.
I loved Stanley Wilson. Had a Stanley jersey, rooted for him harder than anybody in that stadium every week that I was watching. How difficult was it on the team when that message got delivered to you guys? I mean, how much did it just deflate you guys?
It hurt us, man. And I was just doing a segment with Channel 12 earlier today about the Super Bowls. And that was one of the questions they asked. And our running game wasn't all about Ickey Woods and James Brooks and Stanford Jennings. It was Stanley Wilson. He blocked for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And when Stanley went down the night before, our game plan changed. Ickey's trying to run the football without a lead blocker. James Brooks is trying to run the football with Ickey Woods as a lead blocker. That wasn't their job. Their job was to run the football and let Stanley Wilson blow the hose up. But we didn't have that. And unfortunate for us, man, that was probably outside of Tim Krumrie breaking his leg. I don't think that slowed us down. I think what slowed us down was not having Stanley Wilson there, and Boomer wasn't on his game throwing the football. We were averaging like 24 points a game offensively, and we didn't score 1 point on offense in that Super Bowl. If we score one touchdown, we've got our first Super Bowl win.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess rumor had it that Boomer had a bad shoulder. I don't know if that was accurate or not. I know his numbers weren't very good.
Yeah,
But I think David Grant played a heck of a game in placing Crumry.
losing Tim Crumry didn't hurt us because, like you said, David Grant stepped in there and he held his own. It was just more of we didn't have any offense. Boomer's shoulder was supposed to have been bothering him. And I also think too the 2 weeks that we had, I hate that 2 weeks waiting for a Super Bowl because you're in a rhythm, and when you're in a rhythm, man, the next week you want to continue to keep playing. And what do? We go to Miami and we're out there, the Sunshine Boys. We're out there partying and laying around getting suntans. Obviously, I didn't get a suntan, but and having eating free food and gaining weight. I think I may have gained like 7-8 pounds. Just a simple fact that I'm a shrimp guy, and there's a whole lot of shrimp in Miami. They were feeding us, man. They were feeding us left and right, man. And I just think that when you have to wait 2 weeks to play, you get off the consistency of what you do, and I think it hurt us.
I've got one more question, and it's kind of it could be a controversial question, and I don't mean it to be. When John Taylor catches that touchdown pass to win the game, were you in the position you were supposed to be in, or were you taking a freelance shot?
No,
I think you were close, right? I know Ray Horton was all over it.
I was close. I'll go back to the AFC Championship game when Jim Kelly threw the interception and I intercepted in the end zone to go to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That play was almost similar, except I was reading Jim, and Jim kind of telegraphed where he was going to throw the ball, and I just slid over, and he overthrew Ronnie Harmon, and I intercepted it. Well, similar play. I was on the strong side, which tight end, and he's to my left. It would be our left. And on the right side, you had Rice and you had Taylor, and Roger Craig went motion to that side. And I saw what I saw, but I didn't move. I did not want to be out of place, because out of place would have took. If I'd have just ran over there before Montana threw that ball, I would have intercepted that ball. But I had to stay home, because if I would have ran across the field, that would have left my side of the field open, because both safety David Fulcher and Ray Horton are on the same side.
Right.
But I took 2 steps on anticipating that I could get there, and Joe had already thrown the ball. So when you see the catch, you see 33 coming out of nowhere, but I was probably maybe 4 steps away from making a play. But if I would have left early in that move, I probably would have had a chance to intercept the ball, because Ray Horton went outside John Taylor. I'm now almost where Ray was supposed to be, and Joe had already threw the ball. So, yeah, when you see it, it looks like I was pretty close to the ball, but I wasn't. I was probably about 10 feet from the ball. And if I would have, the instinct, man, because I'm tell you something, man, guys, I could close my eyes and go to bed, and I can see that ball being thrown by me. And I've always said to myself, man, if I would have taken off 2 or 3 steps sooner, I think I would have been the MVP of that Super Bowl, because I would have intercepted that ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Bengal Dad, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. I'll let you guys keep asking, or if anybody watching has questions.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure, because I know you were talking about maybe having to hop off of here, but I've got a question. So you talked about number 33. Is there a significance to that number? Like, what made you pick 33?
No, man, they gave that to me.
We asked Corey Dillon the same thing, and he said that's what they just gave it to me.
Yeah, when we got here, now I wore number 7 in college, and I know now you could wear single-digit numbers, but they weren't let defensive backs and receivers wear single-digit numbers when I came here.
Yeah.
And number 7 obviously was Boomer Esiason's number, and I don't think if I could wear it, he would give it up. But no, I when I got here, man, when I first got here and I walked into that practice room and they showed me my locker. When I got to my locker, there was a black jersey in my locker, number 33, and that was how I got that number.
Okay.
I wish it was I could have asked, or they would have asked me. I don't even know what number I would have asked for if they would have asked me. It was available.
Yeah.
33, I just said to myself, this is the number I'm going to wear, so let me make this number my own.
Love it. Greg, go ahead, bud.
Okay, is this true? You went to the same high school as Eric Davis?
Yes.
Wow. Talk about a small world, right? I mean, what was that like? You're playing for the Bengals, and Eric Davis is playing for the Reds. How cool? I mean, like, did you guys know each other well in high school, or?
Oh yeah, when I was California high schools are 10 through 12. I was a 10th grader. Eric was a senior, 12th grader, and along with Daryl Strawberry. Daryl went to Crenshaw High School, and we lived 2 blocks from each other. Daryl couldn't go to our high school because he lived across it's called Slauson Avenue. He lived across Slauson, which was Crenshaw's district. Mm-hmm. Eric on this side of Slauson, which was Fremont district. But when we played park ball together, we all grew up together and we played park ball together, and baseball and basketball. When I was in high school, Eric's a senior, I'm a freshman, 10th grade. We both played on the same baseball team, same basketball team. Eric didn't play football. And when Eric got drafted to go to the Reds, my senior year in high school, I got drafted by the Atlanta Braves to play catcher coming out of high school, but I wanted to play football, and I went to Arizona State to play football. And then I get drafted by the Bengals, and I'm like, wait a minute. My boy Eric plays for the Reds, so I'm to the same town my buddy is. And when I got here, that was the guy I shadowed a couple of weeks when I was here until I got used to Cincinnati. So, yeah, Eric and I played high school baseball and basketball together.
Also, is this true? Dr. Dre also went to that high school too?
Dre didn't go to my high school, but Dre high school in Long Beach.
Okay. It said also Dr. Dre. I just didn't. Okay. But still, that is, talk about a small world, though, right? With Eric Davis.
All those guys we're all in the same backyard, man.
Did you have a better swing than Eric Davis?
I don't know if I had a better swing than Eric. Let me tell you something about Eric, though, man. When Eric was Eric played shortstop when we were in high school. He was a shortstop in Reds, so obviously he goes to the outfield. I was a catcher and I went to first base. But Eric Davis was a freak of nature, man.
Yes.
Eric was not big at all, but he could hit that damn ball 400 feet. And he could run like the wind. And this is a shame, man, because we were so talented that we could not win. We couldn't win nothing. You ever been too talented of a team and couldn't win? Because everybody wanted the ball in basketball. Everybody wanted the ball in football. And if Eric is hitting in baseball and nobody else is hitting, we lose. So it was like, you know what, man, we got too much talent, but we could not close the door. Our baseball team, I think Eric's senior year, we lost in the 3rd round of the California playoffs. Football, which Eric didn't play, we lost in the semifinals to go to the city championship. Mm-hmm. Basketball, we had the best team in basketball, but we could not beat Daryl Strawberry's school because these guys were just Crenshaw High School. These guys were 6'8", 6'9", 6'8", 6'2" guards, and they were just too bad. They were too good for everybody, and we would always lose to them in the state or in the city semifinals because they would win all their home games. I mean, they would win all their league games. We would lose a game or two, and then we would be in a different bracket that had to play them in the semifinal games. It was almost every year, and they would beat us by 10 points because they were just too good.
Wow.
That's awesome.
We had a lot of talent, man. I asked people asked me, did you guys win any championships? I'm like, nope. We couldn't because we had 5 guys. We only had 1 basketball. All these guys wanted to do everything, but we couldn't play together, if that makes sense.
No, I get it.
It's kind of like when who was it? Karl Malone, Gary Payton.
Yes.
All those guys got together on the Lakers.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I think of when you said that.
You know, and you think about this. I mean, you take Karl Malone. You look at the Utah Jazz with Karl Malone, Stockton. They had guys are really good, but they're not. They can't. There's only 1 basketball. You know, how do you win a championship with 1 basketball? And it's hard to, look at the Cincinnati Bengals right now. You got 1 football. You got Joe Burrow. He's throwing the ball to Chase. He's throwing it to Higgins. And he's throwing it to Boyd. Okay, so 1 football, 3 good receivers.
Yeah,
it's hard to win, man, because everybody wants the football. That's hard to do, man. It's hard to do that when you're on offense, and that's why I think it's tough to watch the Bengals because those guys all want football on every play, and they can't. And Joe can't throw it to all of them. He's got to throw it to one of them. And if he throws the ball to Chase all the time, then you got Boyd and Higgins who are going to be upset.
yes.
It's hard, man. It's hard. I don't know how I couldn't be Joe Burrow.
Oh, absolutely.
I couldn't be a quarterback, man, because all these guys run routes, and like Chase said, he's always open, but he's not open all the time, but he's more open than the other guys. And then the other guys say, throw me the ball, but we're not going to throw it to you because Chase is always open. Right. It's hard, man. I don't want to be Joe Burrow, man.
Me neither.
Want that contract?
Well, except for the contract.
Yeah.
Around when I was playing, and I could be Joe Burrow.
Greg, didn't you have a question about the Bengals team and the defense this year?
Yeah. So, Dave, losing Bates and Bell, I think we all saw Bates coming, and Bates all pro year, but Von Bell, I was so depressed because I did not want to lose both safeties. I mean, Jordan Battle, amazing rookie season. Dax Hill, I think he had some ups and downs, but I think he's getting there. Do you think they need to go after another safety? Like, what's your take on the safety position right now for the Bengals?
Well, I think the safeties they got are going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
They're showing some promising, but I also believe that when you got young guys like that, you need a veteran around to kind of lead them around to get them right. And I know with this money and all the stuff, these guys are taking the money and they're running. Words of loyalty to the city, but then you also got owners that do what they do. So I do believe that Jesse Bates, I think Jesse Bates could have stayed. I know they tagged him, $14.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't believe that he was worth that kind of money. Von Bell didn't take much more when he left. Because I was kind of shocked that Von left. Because he should have stayed here.
Yes.
It would have been nice to keep them both, but we're in the same predicament right now coming up with these wide receivers. You can't keep all of them.
No.
But I also look at it, I've been playing. You've been playing for 7, 8 years, and you've made, $60, $70 million, and now you want $15 million, and there's nothing wrong with $10 million. There's nothing wrong with $8 million.
Nope.
And in the bank, where you gonna put that extra $15 million?
Right.
And I'm just sitting there going, especially, knowing what I know and how I played and what I played for. Come on, dude. Now, when I saw Mixon take the comeback for the team, and I say, you know what, that's honorable for him to do that. Will he do it again? I don't see why he wouldn't, because he's a mainstay here. I'm not saying is he the best running back that they've got? Probably not, age-wise, but he knows the system. they know him, and if you made $12 million last year and they say we're going to give you 8, take the 8 and stay home. I just think everybody wants that money.
Yeah.
And I look at it like this, man. Why do we play the game? To win championships. And I look at, Bates going to Atlanta and Bond going to Carolina, and neither one of them got to the playoffs.
Nope.
And Carolina just absolutely, they're bad.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be like Hurts, the tight end, you're going to go to Carolina for $2 million more when you could have stayed here and you got, obviously we had a bad year with injuries, but I would take Joe Burrow, a healthy Joe Burrow, over what they got over in Carolina any day.
Yep.
And what position did we really struggle with offensively? We didn't have a good tight end. I mean, our tight ends, I'm not saying the guys are bad, but
no,
struggle at tight end this year. We also struggle a little bit at leadership at safety this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that those young boys are going to be good. I think the problem with those young boys is that they were young, fast for themselves.
Yes.
And you need a leader. You need somebody, a veteran back there to say, hey, man, every now and then you got to drive the car in third gear and slow it down a little bit. Go first gear and rev up the engine, but you got to slow down a little bit. Because I watched safety against the Steelers, the second play of the game in Pittsburgh. He came up there to make that big hit, and then 14 ran right by him for a touchdown. Veteran safety, you have to make the tackle to give us a chance for the next play. There were times that I played in the game that if I didn't have the kill shot, I was going to make the sure tackle. Because what you don't want to be is on Sports Center highlight. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Nobody likes it. I know I don't like it. I wouldn't do that.
That's a perfect comment. Now, speaking of kind of the current scope of the NFL, do you have a favorite defensive back in the NFL right now? Like, is there a guy that you look at and like, that dude's good?
Man, I don't have that. I don't think I had it when I played. I remember Ronnie Lott, Dennis Smith, Steve Atwater. He was after me.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Easley, Seattle. Safety that played at UCLA. Can't remember his name. But I remember those guys watching them play. And the one thing I used to remember about myself is that I was bigger than, I still believe I'm the biggest safety ever played in the NFL at 250 pounds. I weighed 249 in the Super Bowl. I got to gain like 10 pounds, all that eating down there.
All that shrimp.
Yep.
But when I watched guys play, I said, okay, what can I take from Ronnie Lott to add to my game? Ronnie was very physical. Very physical. Ronnie came in. He never really wrapped people up to make tackles. He just kind of ran through them. But then I saw Kenny Easley with the sure tackling. Dennis Smith with, the speed and making sure tackles. And I tried to take a bunch of that and add it to my mix. I knew I wasn't fast. People thought I was very fast. I wasn't fast. I was just from A to B, I was pretty quick. But from tackle to tackle, I think I could tackle anybody. I was pretty quick. If a guy got outside and he ran up the sideline, I'm not going to catch him. But I wanted to make sure in the style of defense that Dick LeBeau was looking for is, Davis, you got to be a sure tackle. So I don't pay attention to the guys making tackles. I do watch safety's depth, how deep they are. I wish I could coach the safeties that the Bengals have and maybe it's a scheme. I think the guys are just too deep. I know they got 4 and 5 wides running routes, but when it's third down and 15 and you're giving up 15, it's because your safety is a 25. I will have my safety sit at 15, no more than 20. And when they come across the middle, you knock the crap out of them. Even though they won't let you do it, but I would then talk to Mike Brown and say, Mike, I need $100,000 on the side because I'm gonna make you guys fine. But I physical football, it has changed.
Yes.
The NFL wants to see an offensive juggernaut. They want to see points on they don't want to see players knocking helmets off. I know that concussions and the protocols of keeping players' safety is more than anything, but I just think that it's. I won't say the NFL players are soft. They're not soft. I just think that the NFL is trying to slow the game down so players don't get hurt, and it makes it hard for an old guy like me to sit up and go, "Are you kidding me? So you're going to pull him down by a shoestring?" Now know that if they go across the middle, they're not getting hit. So, and no matter what you do, you see a running back drop his head or linebacker, and they want to throw the flag on the defensive guy. Well, why do you want to throw the flag on the defensive guy when he's the one who's receiving the hit? So I think football is just a little bit different, man. And like I said, I wish safeties would come up, because when I played, we were 10 to 12 yards from the line of scrimmage. If they ran the football, we were at the line of scrimmage making a tackle. If they threw the football, it was boom, boom. They caught it, we hit them. Today, these guys are catching balls and running around like, it's a free-for-all. That's not football to me.
Are you doing any type of coaching or mentoring right now for defensive backs?
So a couple of years ago, I was at Cincinnati Christian High School, coaching there, and then I went to Cincinnati Christian University, Cincinnati Bible College, when they started football. They lost their accreditation and they closed the school down. I applied for probably in the last 8 years, 7 high schools. When Bolton left Coleraine, I applied for that. When the coaches left Moeller, I applied for that. I applied for Oak Hills. I applied for Highlands in Kentucky. I applied for a bunch of schools, man. But it's funny that if you got to know somebody to know somebody, and then if you haven't won any high school championships, they don't see the relationship between head coach and student athlete important. That was my thing. My thing, I didn't bring state championships to the school, but I bought relationships where the young man who graduates from this high school comes back to his school and does something for his high school because the high school gave something to him. And sometimes, man, people don't see that. If you win, you're in. If you don't win, who it is? I'll give you an example, man. I was at King's High School. Andy O's, when Andy left, I know Andy really well, and I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna go and apply for that job. He said, dude, you be perfect. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put a word in for you. I go and I do an interview. And the athletic director I interviewed was 25 years old. You see where I'm going, right? He was 25 years old.
Yeah.
When I sat there and I talked to him, he had no idea who I was. He's 25 years old. He didn't know who I was. And he wanted my resume, and I said, okay. So my resume, I could tell you a little bit about my resume. 8 years in the NFL. I went to Arizona State, college football Hall of Famer. I've been a 3-time Pro Bowler. I was defensive back of the year in 1989. I played in Super Bowl 23. What else do you need to know?
I hope he's watching this right now. I was like, what did I just do?
But what got me was when I gave my resume, that was in my resume. My coaching was in my resume. And the young man never knew what it was because Andy O's asked him, how did the interview go with former Bengal David Fulcher? He said, he played for the Bengals?
You're got to be kidding me.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, I and once again, dude, let me tell you something. Just because I played for the Bengals doesn't mean that I'm the best coach.
Right.
But I think I know a little bit about football.
A little bit.
And that little bit of the knowledge that I know about football can be passed on to a young man who wants to get to that next level. Hey, I want to go to college. Okay, I went to Arizona State. I know people at Arizona State.
Right.
Hey, I want to go to the NFL. Well, I play a little bit in the NFL too, but you got to go to college first.
Yep.
And I think sometimes, like I said, man, you got to know people to know people. And everybody that was graded and coaches through football is graded because of what they did for the sport or how they coached the sport. Because not every coach is a friend to the kids who he's coaching.
You're right.
And I want to be a friend to the kid. I want to be a mentor to that young man.
Right.
If I can get that young man an opportunity to live out his dreams, to go to college, to get an education in college, and maybe a chance to go to the NFL, I'm all for it.
Sounds like Dax Hill and Jordan Battle need to reach out to you and have a lunch sit down with you and just chat about the game. That's what it sounds like to me.
Many years ago, we were asked by the secondary coach of the Bengals to come in and talk to his players. I remember the coach, so I'm not going to say his name too loud, but he coached for the Bengals. So if you go back and look at the secondaries coaches, myself, Solomon Wilcox, and Eric Thomas, we go into the defensive back meeting room one day. And we're talking to these players. And I asked the coach, I said, hey, coach, do these guys listen to you? He goes, no, they don't listen to me. They know more than I know. So you thought we could come in and we could help your secondary out. Now, this guy's getting paid millions of dollars to coach. And he asked us to come in and talk to his players because the players weren't listening to him. So that right there tells me something. If I'm a defensive back coach in the NFL and I have to go outside and get outside help to help me, I shouldn't be coaching there. And once again, as I said before, guys, just because I played the game doesn't make me the best coach. But I know a little bit about football that I could help somebody. Because a lot of times I watch players, I watch safeties. They run out of there so fast, and then they throw the ball right where he just left. And then I go, well, what made you move? Well, why'd you leave that? And I'm thinking, gosh, I'm 59 years old. I may not be able to move like I used to, but I ain't going nowhere when the ball didn't take me nowhere. And I think that's where the veteran comes in for a young guy. That he could tell him, listen, man, they're not going to outrun you. If you're, Jordan Battle, you're playing Travis Kelce, tight end. Travis Kelce is a good route runner. He doesn't run real fast. He just knows how to get open.
Right.
So there's no sense in you going up there trying to beat Travis Kelce up. Just run with him. And then if you get in his face, he gonna try to push you and push you around. But why are you running out of there so fast? Because Kelsey's not going to outrun you. He's going to go in and go back out. He's going to go out and go back in. And if you're just giving him the out, he's going to take the out. If you're running in there too fast, he's going to go the other way. And I just watch these people that cover him. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, Travis Kelce's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
But, some of the catches that he makes. Now, he made a great catch in that last AFC Championship game when he dove and caught it.
Yes.
That's a great catch. But some of the passes that he's catching is because, DBs are taking off and running a route for him. Instead of letting him run the route, you just stick right next to him. And, I think I played pretty well against tight ends. I think I wish I was 28 years old playing against Travis Kelce today.
Well, no, there was only one person I think that could guard Travis Kelce. Remember Trey Flowers? Bengals brought in Trey Flowers, said your number one priority is guard the tight ends. And I thought he did a great job in that Super Bowl run was Trey Flowers. That was his one assignment, just guard the tight ends. And he did a great job against Kelce and all the other tight ends. What did you think how he did?
I do think that Flowers was a little light for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer him to be, 220, 225 pounds if he ever was that. But sometimes, man, because tight ends, they like to push off.
Right.
They try to bully you because they're tight end, the kind of lineman tight end who catches the football. And I think sometimes Travis Kelce does that. Travis Kelce pushes off because he's a tight end. He's a blocker. And if you've got somebody lighter than him trying to cover him, he's going to push you off. I thought safety for the Ravens, number 14, I don't know his name.
Hamilton.
I thought, and listen to this now, throughout the year, he was dominating tight ends. He gets in that game against Kelce, and Kelce, 11 for 11.
Yep. 160 yards and a touchdown.
So, and in the first touchdown he caught against him. The only problem that I saw that the kid never turned his head around. He turns his head around, he's gonna knock the ball down or even intercept the ball. But he didn't do anything. So,
oh goodness, yep. Travis Kelce is he's a thorn in my side. We'll just put it that way.
Yes.
But Kansas City's a thorn in my side, but doggone it, they just keep winning.
Yeah, and it was wild too because like throughout the whole year, I didn't think they looked spectacular.
No,
they didn't.
And then they just keep finding ways.
I think Kelce said it though. He said that something happens to them when they get into the playoffs. They become a different football team in the playoffs. And, there are some people that do it. I never would have thought that they lost 7 or 8 this year. And here they are playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So I got a question. Since you just mentioned that Kansas City's a thorn in your side also, who do you root for the Super Bowl? The team that beat you, even though that's not the same team, the name of the team that beat you, or the Chiefs? If you have to root for one, who are you rooting for?
Well, I guess I won't watch the Super Bowl. I don't really care, but if I had to care, I would want San Francisco to win because of what we have built with the Chiefs. Just like the Chiefs playing the Ravens, I really didn't want to see the Ravens get there, but I also didn't want to see the Chiefs get there. So, hey, for our division, Baltimore beat Kansas City. And then when you get to the Super Bowl, if it's San Fran, which I picked Detroit, I was looking for a Detroit-Baltimore Super Bowl, and Detroit winning the Super Bowl. But
what was the last part?
I do not want Kansas City to win the Super Bowl.
No.
Right. I'm with you there. Yep. I don't want to say rooting for the Niners. I'm just not rooting for the Chiefs.
Yeah. I said I don't really care about the Super Bowl. I know there's a game being played, but I mean, does it really matter who wins? I don't want Kansas City to win. So
there it is. Yep.
I don't have to get off here, man.
Hey, no problem.
Good talking to y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.
Love, man. Y'all be good.
Absolutely. Thank you, David. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Take care, Dave.
Hey, guys, I'm going to scoot also. I stayed a lot longer than I thought I was going to, but I'm going to scoot.
Yeah.
It was a really good show.
We were happy you got to be here for this, bud.
Absolutely.
It's about time to hop off anyway. We've been on here for an hour and 20 minutes. Thankfully, David Fulcher was able to come on and chat with us. He gave us about 40 minutes, so that worked out really well. So,
All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
Hey.
All right. See ya.
See you, Bengal Dad. So, and on that note, I think we go ahead and wrap it up. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, hey, and just so you know, we're not making any promises, but there could be something else in the making with within the next couple weeks starting Rally. Can't make any promises, but there could be something in the making next week, week after. So stay tuned, okay?
Getting some notches in the tool belt, if you will.
You know, we'll just stay tuned is all I can say. But you know what, James? Hey, one more thing. We have 3 more sponsors we need to thank here.
Yes, we do.
Coffee, Script Coffee, big news, Steve Huff. If those of you don't know, Script Coffee, they're getting close to open up their shop right near around where Santori lives, in Lebanon. It looks really awesome. I know it's been shown. And Three-Way City,
Yep.
you know.
Adam is working on. He's actually working on a new colorway, for his brand, the Three-Way City. He's working on that. So, be looking for that in the future. I'm not sure how far in the future, but he is working on it. Who's our last one there, Greg?
Birmingham Meadery. Burr, burr, burr. Hey, I tried Birmingham for the first time. Let me tell you something, man. That Birmingham's going to get me in trouble if I keep drinking it. That thing is like It's like drinking honey and all that. I mean, that Birmingham. Shout out to them for sending me some samples. Yep. That was awesome. I'm officially a mead person. You know, when the Reds start playing, James, what we need to do is, along with the Viking helmet, we need to get Birmingham to sponsor the Reds. Is exactly what we need right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget to use our code HOODAY9.
Yeah.
For your order of 2 bottles or more, it'll get you 15% off. You must be 21 years of age or older to order. So don't be trying to sneak it in there when you're 16. It's not going to happen.
Nah.
But anyway, so I think we're good. Thank you, everybody, for hopping in here. Darth said, is there a game coming up? I thought the season was over.
Yeah,
it's kind of how we feel too. Also, speaking of Darth is doing something really awesome. He's making a whole bunch of chains and actually going to be shipping them for a donation, making that clear, for a donation to the charity Project Game Day that we are a part of. He's really killing it. I told him today, I said, what you need to do is you need to give us that chain that is the mess up chain, and we'll give it away because somebody's going to want that thing. So we'll see what happens. But he's really killing it. We got some really exciting stuff coming up with Project Game Day too. I'm not sure that we can announce stuff just yet, but we've got some interesting items. We've got maybe some interesting people. We'll just put it that way.
Yep.
So everybody be looking. Go follow Project Game Day on Twitter. Make sure that you're following us on there so that way you can get all of your updates when we have them. So, Darth, boom. Cheers, buddy. And on that note, Greg, hope you have a great evening, buddy.
You too, bro.
And we're going to get out of here.
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle.